What is up, RotoGrinders? 2 hours, 2+ hours, nonstop MLB DFS conversation, taking you all the way up the lock. Crunch time coming in around 6:15 or so. You get the best in the business. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth paired with Dave Potts, 2-time millionaire winner. Cheeseisgood, Derek Carty, CEO of the Bat and the Blitz, and of course myself, Dean Shamblson, joined by Bobby Gomes. You guys know Bobby? Bobby, former $1 Million winner with a spectacular mustache on this fine tax day. I'm going to shout out the local post office, Bobby. You know how they get a bad rap, right? You know, you think of places that tend to not be super efficient. Incredibly efficient. I had a very efficient experience at the post office, so shout out to them. I don't know if it was an anomaly or not, but they were on top of things. Took me maybe 10 minutes or so in and out. They were making sure people were in lines. It's a whole thing. It was
Dino, we're losing you.
No, they were getting stuff done. So shout out to the local post office.
Yeah,
you can't hear me?
It's the little wins each day. No, you've been going in and out. Maybe it's me, but I feel like it might be you. Yeah, the little wins with the post office. You got to add those up. You know, it's a long MLB season. You're going to have those couple down days, couple up days. The little daily wins, you know. That's how it goes.
Yeah, by the way, I'm checking to see the chat is also saying, I guess I'm a little bit in, a little bit out as far as my picture and voice, but hopefully this will clear up soon enough. Is this not? I'm just talking to myself right now. What is going on?
No, you're not. You're not,
Bobby. Can you? Am I not?
I can hear you.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we are good or not necessarily? Do I need to do like a speed check or something? How am I doing here, producer Steve? Is it still really wonky? I shouted out the local post office, which is not necessarily known for their efficiency, and I think my internet's usually pretty good. It's pretty efficient. Did a little Freaky Friday with the post office because it's not working today for some reason. But Bobby, let me know if there's any hiccups. But I feel like I'm good, and everything I'm seeing is good. But I guess we'll power on through. Do what that like button do. Subscribe. Do turn on those notifications. Do all those things to help us keep the lights on. I did mention, you got Roth and Carty and Potts coming in an hour and 10 minutes for crunch time. And let's see, we got, I dropped the weather as far as precipitation, as far as issues going on. Weather-wise, we should be good. I dropped it in the chat. Green in Chicago, green in Minnesota, yellow-green for the Yankees, green yellow for Baltimore. Bobby, do you hear me fine? Are we good?
You just cut out again. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. You're cutting out.
Oh, boy.
You just went out again. That means I'm going to be left on here all by my lonesome if you end up going out for a couple of minutes, which I'm a little nervous about, but we'll power through when the time comes, if it comes. Hopefully it doesn't.
That's so strange. My internet is good. Like, I don't know what's going on, and I'm going to go ahead and test my connection and my speed, and again, this rarely happens, but we're going to give this a shot. Maybe something is wonky happening on my
God.
But chat's telling me I'm jumping in and out as well, so don't know what's going on. And I did just do a reboot as well. They're telling me in chat to reboot my computer. Very strange. My current download speed's in like the 480s, which is like off the charts, Bobby. But you know what? It's dwindling now. 380. That's still pretty strong. In any event. Okay, Bobby, I'm going to jump out and then jump back in, okay? I'll be right back.
So Dean's leaving quickly. Just kind of talk about this slate a little bit. Just basically looking at pitching a good bit. A lot of the pitching's pretty spread out. I don't think I'm paying up much for pitching on the slate. Looking at bats, I like good hitting environments. Tampa, obviously, good weather there. I think one of the tougher decision points on the slate is whether you go Pepiot or you go Red Sox. The Red Sox have been absolutely brutal, but they're hitting some of my stuff. I like some of the lefties, especially hitting in that wind. Willer Abreu, Devers. I think those guys, Duran, I think those guys make a little bit of sense. But then on the Tampa side, like these Tampa guys should be able to run all over the Red Sox. So Brandon Lowe probably be my favorite second base play on the slate. I really like him. All these young guys for Tampa. Caminero hit another, I think he's hit a home run 3 out of the last 4 nights now. Really like Tampa's offense a good bit. The Dodgers look good. Little slate overview till Dean gets back. The Orioles are going to be a team a lot of people are going to get to with Lariano being at his price tag. Tyler O'Neill, probably the best hitting matchup on the slate versus the lefty. So that's something that's interesting. Pitching, just paying up in terms of pitching. People aren't going to do that in terms of tournaments. Like a guy like Schwellenbacher is going to be very low owned versus Toronto, which I think is an interesting tournament pivot. A lot of people are going to really, the highest they'll go is Flaherty. And there's a lot of guys on the lower end that are going to kind of mix in. Guys like Jeffrey Springs, Pepiot versus the Red Sox in that good hitting weather game. Bailey Ober, Tyler McGill. I think these guys are all options for tournaments. Dean is back. Dean, thank you for saving me.
Well, tell me if you're being saved. Can you hear me? How do I sound? Are we clear? Are we good to go?
We're good to go. Yeah, you sound great.
Oh, man. Unbelievable.
Don't leave me again.
It wasn't intentional for sure. And again, I just reset my computer. It's very strange, but cross the fingers. Hopefully we are good. No more hiccups. It is a big boy slate, like we're talking 11.
Oh no. Broccoli boy giving me.
I heard you mention a couple of pitchers there.
Yeah, a couple of pitchers.
What's going on?
I mentioned. I just mentioned a couple of pitchers. Just gave a slate overview quickly. Broccoli boy just giving me shit in chat. See how it is. And
apparently,
it's nothing new from Broccoli boy.
He's your biggest fan. He's got a poster review on his wall. That's my understanding. So it's all with love for sure. I'm told I'm still freezing. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I would have any internet issues, but Bobby, can you hear me fine? Jack, can you hear me fine?
I can hear you fine now. You just keep cutting out like briefly and then cutting back in, which I'm the king of. So I can't get. This is a rarity for you. Yeah, maybe TJ is messing with your internet.
Oh, it's all part of his diabolical plan.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if TJ's out there lurking or not, if the Spidey Bombs are lurking, but shout out to yesterday, Dean Dongs. 2 out of 3. We got 2 out of 3 yesterday, which that ain't bad. We'll try to do better and get all 3 of them as far as the homers. We went ahead and dropped those in chat. Speaking of dropping things, let's go ahead and drop the first clue for Bobby. Bobby, am I cutting out again? You said something.
You did for a second. Heartbreaking is the first clue. Can only imagine where this is going.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's a good descriptive of the first 10 minutes of the show. I think it might actually be this show is the answer. I don't know what's going on, but hopefully this is good enough. And apparently my audio is moving faster than my video. I don't know how. I'm in 2 different time zones, or I'm on my own little personal delay video-wise, but hopefully it's not too much of an issue, or it'll clear up as the show progresses. If not, maybe I'll have to jump out and jump back in again. But we'll see. We'll power on through. Let me know, chat. But this is not ideal. But I know you're touching on as far as pitchers. Did you give your kind of screenshot, your overview, like the nature of the slate? It's an 11 gamer. It's similar like the way it was yesterday, right? Where the Dodgers, once again, the biggest total on the board, closing in on 6 with over 5.5, taking on the Rockies. They are home. It's a lot of bad weather, a lot of just cold weather, not the best ideal conditions for hitting. The pitching's a little bit weaker. We have a few more games. I don't think we're as deep as far as pitchers today. We certainly have some that we can choose from that are pretty solid, pretty legitimate. I heard you talk about Flaherty at the top, especially on DK. He seems a little bit too cheap, Flaherty. Best pitcher on the slate when it comes to Sierra, dating back to last season, lowest Sierra, highest K rate. Milwaukee is middle of the road as far as offenses to pick on, and one of the, I guess, better hitting environments today just by default because they're going to be indoors and it's not going to be 50 degrees out. I presume they're closing the roof today in Milwaukee. You mentioned Springs, taking on the White Sox. White Sox not as vulnerable to the K against lefties, but they're still pretty bad, obviously. Old man Charlie Morton, he's a man. He's 40. He's actually 41, I believe. Is super cheap, 6'5". He did have one game where he kind of, had all those Ks, but he's the cheap SP2 to kind of make stuff work. But again, it kind of falls off a little bit. And there's some good pitchers like Hunter Brown, who might be a little bit overpriced. Max Fried, I guess I don't know if he's overpriced. I like Fried a good bit. He also had that spike game as far as Ks are this year. Not necessarily what he's known for. We were talking about this pre-show. He's just an incredible ground ball pitcher. Doesn't really give up any homers, like 0.5 or so per 9, dating back to last season. Your official screenshot. You're approaching the show. We're going to talk pitchers, and then we'll go stacks. We're going to throw our stacks in the tiers. We have our tiers already selected as well. We'll discuss. We'll give away some RG Premium additionally. You know how that works. I mention it all the time, but just in case you're brand new, get the Discord channel, RotoGrinders.com/Discord, live stream chat channel. That's where you answer Television Tuesday, our question. If you happen to know what television show I'm talking about, and this is not a television show, to be clear, so it's not GrindersLive. That's not the answer. It is heartbreaking the first 10 minutes, but hopefully we'll do better. That's our first clue. Get in there, tell me what TV show I'm talking about. Bobby, you have a plan of attack before we fully talk about some pitchers and some stacks? How we attacking this 11 gamer?
Yeah, I'm prioritizing my bats first, and then filling in pitching. Like I said at the top, I think people are the most they're going to spend up to is Flaherty. For me, I'll probably be underweight on Flaherty. I do think he's the best pitcher on the slate. He's probably the best just from a salary perspective, his price is the fairest at $9K. I think getting up to Schwellenbach is a little bit interesting for tournaments. That would be the one that I'd go above him. And then guys like Pepiot versus the Red Sox, who lead the league currently in strikeouts and have been absolutely atrocious. I will be playing. I also will be playing some Red Sox bats against Pepiot. I like Springs versus the White Sox. Springs is 8,200. The White Sox, they don't strike out as much versus left-handed batters, but I think Springs is in line for the win. And the White Sox are still one of the worst teams in the history of modern baseball, I would say. So, I'm fine with Springs there. Bailey Ober and Tyler McGill are two pitchers that I think in that Mets-Twins game, they get the pitching ump. It's good ballpark for pitching, good weather for pitching. So I'll be taking shots on those guys. You mentioned Fried. I like Fried. I wonder if the K upside's there. That's the biggest thing for me. What's Fried's price tag? Oh, Fried's 9,500. So I guess Fried would probably be another pitcher that I'd go up to, and I'd pay the extra 500 for Fried above Flaherty. But I also like minis of like Bobby Witt, Hunter Renfroe versus the lefty. Salvi Perez hit a home run the other night. I'm fine with some minis from KC. And then you have Charlie Morton, 6,500, who's going to be probably the chalk in that range. I think I'd rather have spend the 200 and get up to a guy like Ober versus the Mets. But Morton will fit with a lot of my Baltimore stacks. I think Baltimore is kind of the value stack on the slate that I think people are going to play. And then Landon Knack versus Colorado. I just worry about Landon Knack's leash, how many pitches he's going to throw. He is 7K. There are guys under him that I think have more of a ceiling, even though he's probably in line for the win. So, love the Dodgers bats, love the Rays bats. Rays are going to be running all over the place tonight. That's always good for DFS. Like some athletics, and the Orioles value is pretty good.
You mentioned Knack. I know he's facing the Rockies, and it's a good ballpark and all that, but man, he's been incredibly inefficient so far this year. And like you said, the first sign of trouble, he probably gets the hook as well. He's had 2 starts. He's not made it out of the 3rd inning yet. He's just not somebody I feel very confident. Maybe you can get 5. If all things go well, maybe you can get 5 out of him and the W. You were talking about Fried. Fried, as far as K's, dating back to, this year specifically, 27%. It's which he had that one spike game. Dating back to last season as far as strikeouts, we're looking at 23 and change. So it's not terrible. A little bit above average, I suppose. And as far as the slate, like Flaherty's the top guy at 30%. You have Kikuchi. The tricky thing with him is that what comes to those strikeouts, 27%, is walks, fly balls, and homers sometimes. You can just get wild. We were talking about the weather stuff, and McGill taking on Ober, the next two guys, facing each other as far as strikeouts. And I think it's a pretty good environment for throwing baseballs today. Well, maybe it's tricky because we had this situation yesterday where it was really cold, but also the wind was blowing out. I think the pitchers got the better of the hitters. But again, I'm pulling up Weather Edge, and as always, grain of salt. 8 games. 8 games is a sample on that. We do see a boost in 8 games at the homers as far as 33%, runs 22%, 53 degrees, 11 miles per hour at the right center. I feel like this is more of a raw thing, but I feel like they've kind of like counter each other out, and it's basically neutral. But really, no place is popping as far as weather. It's going to be in the 50s in San Diego, the 50s for LA, the high 50s. Chicago in the 50s. We need in New York in the 50s. Now the wind is blowing out for what it's worth. I mean, a 7-game sample again. What do we do with the sample? Not really much you can grasp from that, but 58 as far as the temp. Now it is blowing out almost a dead center at 18 miles per hour. So maybe it's okay. And the Yankees power the ball anyway. And you mentioned Baltimore. We'll talk about them as far as stacks, but that is my favorite team on the slate. Spoiler: 17 miles per hour as far as wind going out the right field. But again, it is pretty cool. 62, and we just don't have a lot of samples of it's cold and it's windy. So Weather Edge is spectacular when we have bigger samples. It's just hard to figure what to do with these smaller samples. All right, I think we're good as far as technology and the interwebs. We fully caught up.
Don't curse it. Don't curse it. There, see?
I haven't seen any sort of issues. I'm trying to keep an eye on it, but it's just very, very strange. Ownership wise, let's take a peek at it. Obviously, roster 2 on DK, so ownership's going to be higher, and also some prices a little bit different. What do you got, Bobby?
No, I was just saying,
Bobby,
just making a comment.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear. But Flaherty's most popular guy at 32%, and Springs at 26%, Morton 21%. Knack is coming in at 16%, which I will be under that. I want to be under on Morton, but I understand it. Kikuchi again, 16%. If he can dodge the walks and the homers, he should be fine. Those fly balls, do they die in the warning track or they go over the fence? That's usually how his day is decided. But I like the idea of getting to Flaherty and Fried. Now, Bobby, I do recognize we live in the world of a salary cap, and it's hard to get both those guys and all of a sudden have a great offense. But I think there are ways to make that work. It's a big enough slate. There are enough cheap players where I think I can make that happen. All right. I'm trying to see if there's any chats, there's any questions in regards to anybody pitcher-wise we've not yet discussed. Bobby, is there somebody we've not yet discussed you want to bring up as far as pitchers?
McGill and Ober seem very interesting to me, like what you end up doing there. McGill's at 7.9. We have him for 16% ownership. Ober is 6.7, right above that Morton price tag. We're showing him for around 3%. So I don't know, that game, like I like them as like one-off bats in secondary stacks. I don't like them as full stacks because we talked about the weather being super cold, but also the wind blowing out. So I like both those teams from a hitting perspective, but I also think from a pitching perspective, these guys are going to get squeezed. So figuring out which one is pretty important. I lean over McGill just because of the K upside. But the Mets do have a lot of lefties that hit fly balls to right field where the wind is blowing out currently. Guys like Lindor, Soto. So that's just something I'm keeping in mind. And then Pepiot versus the Red Sox. The Red Sox have been brutal. I watch every game and just torture myself. Best hitting weather on the slate. I love the lefties from both teams. I think Brandon Lau is a fantastic play tonight. Willer, Abreu, Devers. I think those guys are super strong on the Red Sox side. I think that's a situation like you have to get right, whether it's Pepiot or it's Sox bats. So
you're leaning in on you're trying to play extremes. You're going to have both sides of it. Maybe Boston goes off, maybe Pepiot goes off, and you're not rooting.
I don't particularly want to hedge, but I feel like it's gonna, like, I was hoping that I could get some clarity through you here. But it's a difficult point on the slate that you kind of have to figure out. Like Aranda, I love for the Rays. Like I said, Lau, I think is good. These Rays are going to run a ton. Like you get 5 points for a steal on DK, so something you want to keep in mind. They went off for 16 runs last night. Buehler hasn't been able to get through a game unscathed. Like he's been atrocious, and the Red Sox sold us that he was going to be fantastic along with Bregman, and the only signing that's really worked out is Crochet. Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much definitely playing these Tampa guys for the steal upside, and definitely going to have some Red Sox guys as well.
Last season, Buehler gave up 12 steals in 75 innings for what it's worth. I was just trying to see how vulnerable he is to the stolen base. You were telling me pre-show you watch a lot of Boston that their backup catcher is pretty vulnerable to the stolen base. Although
they're going to run on Buehler too. Like they're going to run on Buehler's not holding runners on, so they're going to run on Buehler.
I'm seeing there's a freeze count of 8, by the way. I don't see myself freezing, but I hope this is not annoying. And shout out to producer Steve for making it fun, I suppose. And shout out to producer Steve for toughing through yesterday. I know he wasn't feeling well. He's bouncing back, feeling a little bit better today. Alexander wants to know in chats, can we and you're playing more lineups than I am. I don't play a ton of lineups. I assume you're playing more lineups than I am. Can we X out Knack?
I think Knack's in the player pool. I'm currently not getting to him. Like I said, I like Over. I like McGill. I think they have more upside, especially from the K side. Their K percentages are a lot higher than Knack. You said it yourself. Knack hasn't gone through 3 innings. And then you also have Dave Roberts on the other side of it. If Knack falls behind, he's likely in trouble, right? So he's not someone I'm targeting.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. We do have the first clue scrolling for Television Tuesday. Let's go ahead and drop that second clue. It's giveaway week for you of RG Premium. So it's football, baseball, basketball, hockey, MMA, PGA, all the goods, all the bells, all the whistles, the optimizer, the articles. You get Dave's article, you get our premium content, the rankings, Plate IQ, Lineup HQ, all the good stuff. All you got to do is tell me what TV show I'm talking about. The second clue that's scrolling right now is 10. 10 is the second clue. Heartbreaking is the first clue. Get in that Discord channel and tell me first what TV show we're talking about. Okay, we have 22 teams, 22 offenses to discuss, Bobby. So a lot of teams, a lot of stacks that need to be ranked. So we should probably pivot and do that. We'll do that in just a second. Of course, we'll do our category for our tiers. 1, obviously the best. 5 is the worst. Give me like 30 seconds. Give me a minute. Somebody just jumped in the show. They just jumped in 25 minutes ago. Late. That's fine. Understand. The first 25 minutes not spectacular. Not my best. Technology sometimes. Bobby, give me the elevator pitch, the TLDR. How you're approaching pitching tonight.
Yeah, I think I'm getting to a lot of these guys like Springs, Pepiot, Ober. I think I'm paying down a lot of pitching. Flaherty and Fried on the high end. If you're going really high, Schwellenbach. It's mainly my pitcher pool currently. So the guys I don't have can go through that. No Hunter Brown for me currently. No Gosman. No Landon Knack. Kikuchi, I'm not really sure on. I currently don't have him in. He has the K upside, but he's going to get a good bit of right-handed bats, I would imagine, in this order. So he's not someone I'm targeting too much. Yeah. And then
we have that lineup, by the way, for Texas, just so you know, as far as the righties. Well, the lefties are Seager, and that's it. That's the lefties. So it's 8 righties.
Yeah, 8 righties. Charlie Morton, I'll be under on. So, yeah. Well, I like the Baltimore stack. I don't think I'll do much correlation with it because I think J-Ram's one of the better tournament plays in the slate. Good hitting weather in Baltimore. But Baltimore's not the greatest park, but I just still think J-Ram's a fine play whenever you can get to him.
All right, so today's category for stacks. Bobby, you don't know this either. We did not discuss this. So you tell me. I want chat to tell me. Movies that need, and some of these are getting it, to be fair. Some of these are getting it. Somebody's not necessarily. Movies that need a sequel or a reboot. Tell me movies that need a sequel or a reboot. And some of them are in the works. Some of them are coming out. And some of them I'm afraid of happening, and some of them I'm afraid of. Some of them I kind of want to happen. But chat, tell me a movie that absolutely needs a sequel or a reboot. Bobby, what's the first thing that comes to mind for you?
Sequel or reboot? I could tell you one that didn't, and that's
what I want. Yeah,
that's Gladiator.
Okay. Oh yeah,
yeah, that was a disappointment. But how could it not have been a disappointment, right?
It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't necessary. It was fine. But
it wasn't good.
It wasn't as good as the first one, of course. But you probably didn't expect that going in. I assume you wouldn't have expected that going in. The chat is saying Rocky. Well, have I got news for you, Ruthless Villain? You're going to be excited. There's 19 Rockies if you include the Creed series. Yeah.
The other Home Alones, after 2.
How bad are these parents exactly?
Yeah.
Well, they replaced the kid too because Macaulay Culkin got too old, I believe. Striptease being suggested in chat, and Showgirls being okay. The Sandlot.
The Sandlot could be remade, I guess. I would actually. It's a standalone. I wouldn't do that.
The Town. I don't know how you have a sequel to The Town. I guess you could, I suppose, but maybe not. Maybe not. A spectacular movie.
The uncut version of The Town's better than the regular version.
I tried to find it one day, and they wanted to charge me $25, and I was like, I want to see it, but I don't want to see it that bad. One of these days, we'll win a tournament, and then we'll splurge and buy the Town, the director's cut or whatever. Okay, so here is my official board. Bobby, I think you did hit on one actually. Number one on the board. Number one on the board is Kill Bill. I would love to see a Kill Bill sequel. Never going to happen, I don't think. You never know. And they even kind of set it up. If you've seen Kill Bill, they set it up in the movie where the protagonist, the bride, kills a woman in front of her child. And she says, listen, she had it coming. Trust me. But when you grow up, if you still see it necessary, you want to get your revenge, by all means, come at me. I'll be waiting. So they set up the sequel right there, 10 years later, 15 years. But it's not happening. The Accountant is actually happening. That's in the theaters soon. And the first one's very good. The people's version of Born Identity, kind of, sort of, somewhat. So I'm interested in seeing that. Although no Anna Kendrick in the sequel, which is kind of a bummer. Naked Gun is happening as well with Liam Neeson. I'm not sure. I'm conflicted. That's why it's in the middle, Bobby. It's in the middle because I love the first one so much. The other ones are fine too, but I'll watch it. I'll watch it with open eyes and give it a chance, but probably not going to be as good as the original. Then there's Happy Gilmore. It'll be fine, I guess. I'll watch it, sure. But do I really want to? Am I really excited about it? I don't think so. Could it be good? Maybe. And then the one that would be the worst. That would just totally come right at my childhood. If they remade Back to the Future, that's the one we got to leave alone. Leave it alone. But they're going to do it. They're going to do it one of these days, I'm sure, because it's a license to print money. That is my board. All right. Comments? Anything to add before we dive in and talk about our teams?
No, not at all. Not at all. TJ's joined us, just to let you know. So if you need a break, conveniently, he's here.
Wait, he's in the green room? He's just chilling?
He's in the chat. Yeah.
Oh, I see him in the chat. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's humble bragging. Says he's going to go to see the Back to the Future cast at an expo he's going to next week. So Yeah, that seems like good times for sure. Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, and a few others. All right, let's go ahead and knock. Oh, let's get the third clue. We don't have a winner just yet. We want to get a winner for today's TV Tuesday. Let's get a winner. By the way, True Lies was another one that was considered, but I think it's too long. It's been too long for True Lies. And also, they are making another Spaceballs. I don't know if it's been like 30 years ago. Let's make another Spaceballs to search for more money, I think it's called. Okay, so the third clue is package. Package is the third clue. And I see I don't know what you bet. Well, what was the FanDuel Sportsbook? What do they have as far as freeze count today? Because whatever the over-under was set at was definitely too low. The over was a lock. And ladder. You should have laddered the over on freeze count, and you would have just, you'd be rich. Because I feel we're at 12. Unbelievable. I'm guessing it's going to go higher. All right, Bobby.
I think it's TJ messing with your wires.
It's you think he's a nice guy. You think he's a nice guy, but he's got
You would think.
All right. Cleveland. Cleveland is taking on Baltimore. In our very first game, we're going to talk about Logan Allen taking on Charlie Morton. Baltimore is a pretty heavy favorite here, minus 155. Almost a 5 total. You got Westberg leading off, left on left, is pushing Henderson to the cleanup spot. Logan Allen, nobody's given it more homers per 9 dating back to last season on this slate than Logan Allen. I believe it's almost 2. It's pushing 2. Let's see. Yeah, 1.93 homers per 9. That is too many. Not enough strikeouts. Too many walks as well. I got to teased it before. Baltimore is my favorite team. But, Bobby, you make the board. It's just me and you. I will yield. You tell me where you're putting Cleveland and Baltimore.
Cleveland can go in Happy Gilmore just right off the bat. J-Ram, I think, is fine. But outside of that, there's really nothing from Cleveland that I love. On the Baltimore side, I think Baltimore immediately could go and kill Bill. Tyler O'Neill, we talked earlier prior to the slate, and he's your favorite hitter on the slate, and I agree with you. He's a really good spot versus the lefty. Guys like Mateo at the back end of the order, I kind of like that. A guy like Gunnar is a guy that probably isn't going to be he'll probably be one of the lower owned Baltimore pieces at the shortstop position. I really like him lefty on lefty. Paying up for Adley from Sanchez. Sanchez is fine as well, but not a lot of people are going to do that, I would imagine, due to construction. Yeah, and Ramon Laureano, you talked about his pinch hit risk prior to the show. I think he's in a good spot as a value piece. I think he's around 2K, so let's put Baltimore in the Kill Bill category. Really like Baltimore today.
We were talking about a pre-show as far as Tyler O'Neill. Nobody, dating back to last season, nobody has a bigger ISO versus lefties amongst qualified hitters, with the exception of Aaron Judge, who's in his own tier. But he's got an ISO of 400 against lefties. We love that power. Yeah, my favorite plan is he's 3-1 on FanDuel, which is just egregious. Love him over there. And, of course, I'll be spending up for him. He's not that expensive on DK as well. So he is my favorite play on the board, all things considered. Don't know how popular Baltimore is going to be. I'm hoping they get pushed down a little bit. Also, it's early, and they got those cheapies and Sanchez and Loreno you mentioned. I was thinking that Rushman is an interesting tournament play just because on DK, we have what Sanchez is so easy to pay for. And, it's going to be hard to click that button for Rushman just because of salary concerns. But going to try to get there. Westbrook leading off to me looks awesome as well. 2 of the better games offensively to start. We have Walker Buehler, Ryan Pepio taking on each other. It's Boston and Tampa. 9's the total. Probably the best offensive spot, the entire slate, the entire board. Tampa almost a 5-team total, minus 130 as far as being a favorite. We saw Tampa absolutely ravage Boston yesterday. You said you watched all the Boston games. I'm curious, how long did you last yesterday? And why didn't Boston have fun and throw a shortstop in there in the 8th inning?
They can't afford to have fun currently.
I would always do that.
They just dropped 2 of 3 to the White Sox over the weekend. So they have to be more serious. You can't be throwing in a player to pitch. Yeah, lefties on Tampa Bay, wind blowing out to right. Jonathan Aranda, I think is fantastic. Brandon Lowe. Junior Caminero is a righty, but he's pretty much hit a home run in 4 of the last 5 games, so I think he's in play. Tampa's going to run a ton too, so really like the Tampa stack. Tampa for me is very close to Kill Bill. I'll put them in the accountant. They're very close to Kill Bill. Then the Red Sox, same thing. Hit it on it a bunch of times already throughout the show. The lefties, Devers, Abreu, I think are strong. Duran. Tristan Casas is absolutely terrible, and I'm going to poo-poo him pretty much all season. But tonight he could hit a home run. The righty that I would target, the 2 righties would be Bregman and Campbell. And, yeah, you can put the Red Sox in the account as well.
Yeah, we know the deal with Casas. He can crush BP, right? He's just got to hit it, though, and it's tough to hit it sometimes.
He stinks. He stinks.
He's got a batting practice. It's like, man, this guy smashes the baseball, but they start. Yeah, he's got a 21 ISO in the season this year versus righties, which is really bad.
Yeah, he's been brutal. And I watched the documentary.
31.4%.
The documentary that they had just made me hate him more. So, yeah.
That's on Netflix. Is it a running series or just one episode? I think it's on Netflix, right?
I have no idea why they did it, because they cut the Nesson package, which is what their broadcasting channel up here, and now you're paying more for it, and now it's a Netflix thing, and they're using Apple TV and all this other stuff, and I'm just put a better product on the field. I didn't think Bregman was going to be a great signing. Bueller, same thing, and I love the Crochet deal, but I don't know.
I think Bregman's going to be fine in that ballpark. When it heats up, I think he'll be all right.
Bring the kids up. They have their farm system's fantastic.
Anthony
Campbell's up, but Anthony, Mayer, these guys are good. They need to get them up sooner rather than later.
I mean, it's on my dynasty team that I have Anthony, and I'm just waiting for him to get called up. It's this.
Kirk, yeah, I know. Kirk would ask a really good question in chat, how often do you get around to watching Red Sox batting practice? I
got a guy that's filming. I get a little simulcast. You got to pay a little more for the package, but it is worth it for sure. And yeah, I'm with you as far as the Rays. I like all of them. Caminero, a little bit of pinch at risk for Aranda when a lefty comes in, just kind of thrown out there. Misner's been great. He banged a couple yesterday. I think one versus a lefty. I do like Mr. Lau. That name again, Mr. Lau. Brandon Lau for sure is certainly worth a look for me. Let's move on. Kansas City, New York, 8.5 to total. It's Waka taking on Max Fried. By the way, if you're a BVP truther, don't look at Aaron Judge's BVP versus Waka. Don't do it. I don't know. Are you a truther when it comes to the old BVP, Bobby?
I think it's a qualifier.
Is that something that you care about or not so much?
Like I said, I think it's a qualifier.
Aaron Judge, 21 official at-bats, 1 hit. It's a single. 12 strikeouts and 21 at-bats, 4 walks. You can't roster him, obviously, right?
No, you can definitely play Judge tonight versus Waka with that BVP. I don't really care. It's Aaron Judge. But I do think that there is something to BVP. What it is and how you quantify it, I have no idea.
Yeah.
How
do you feel with the Yankees?
Like the Yanks side, Ben Rice, Chisholm, Austin Wells, mainly those lefties. Oswaldo Cabrera, who's been not great, but I can get to him. Jason Dominguez, who's terrible at baseball, but also a lefty, wins blowing out to right in Yankee Stadium. Fine with that. I love Judge. Think he's fine. Yankees, yeah, you put the Yankees in the account. And what I will say is with Kansas City, I like Renfroe a good bit versus Fried. Traditionally, Renfroe's crushed lefties. He's a lefty masher. Carty would be upset. I don't mind Renfroe. I don't mind Witt. But that's basically as far as I'm going to go on the Kansas City side, and they're more one-offs or secondary stacks.
Yeah, I'm not playing Kansas City at all. But I understand. I get it, but I just don't want to pick on Fried. You get there with homers, and he doesn't really give them up. So I'm just not going to be playing the likes of Bobby Witt. And if he gets me, so be it. We shall move along. Let's go ahead and drop that 4th clue because we have no winners just yet for Television Tuesday. This might do it. This might open the door. First clue is heartbreaking. Second clue is 10. Then package. Middle is the fourth clue. Middle is the fourth clue. Tell me what TV show I'm talking about, and you give your answer in the Discord channel, rotogrinders.com/Discord, the live stream chat channel. You get yourself a week free of RG Premium if you happen to be first. No spamming, only one guess per clue drop. Braves, Blue Jays, 7.5 is the total. Kevin Gausman taking on Spencer Schwellenbach. No Ozuna. Ozuna's not in there today. We have both catchers for Atlanta, Baldwin and Murphy. I presume one is DHing. And again, they're without Ozuna, and I don't think he went on the IL, so I think they're still without. They're playing one man short on the bench. Looks like a little bit more of a pitcher shootout than the hitters. Hitters Paradise, 7.5 total. Two pretty good pitchers. Your thoughts as far as the Blue Jays and the Braves?
In terms of the Braves, Ozuna was my favorite bat. Not getting there now, obviously, because he's not playing. No real Braves for me. I guess you could put the Braves in Happy Gilmore because Olson's fine as a one-off. Kelnick's down at 2-2. Like, those guys are okay. Harris, whatever. On the Toronto side, 3-7 total. Like, I don't love it. Santander is probably my favorite play on the Toronto side. And yeah, they can be in Happy Gilmore as well. Don't love them versus Schwellenbach.
Bobby, do you recall where you put Kansas City and New York?
New York is in the account, and in KC, I would put in Happy Gilmore. I wouldn't put them in Naked Gun. Yeah, sorry about that.
Athletics, White Sox, 7.5 total. Sean Burke taking on Jeffrey Springs. Again, another ballpark where the weather's not great, although when wind is blowing out, pretty strong, but it is pretty cool as well. Burke, Springs, Athletics, White Sox. The A's barely have a team total just above 4. They are locked in for 9 guaranteed on the road. That White Sox bullpen should be a little bit rough as well. How do we feel about the Athletics and the White Sox?
Yeah, for the Athletics, Lawrence Butler and Rooker, I think, are two guys that I'm probably going to try to get overweight on. Favorite being Lawrence Butler. I just think he's in a really good spot. Same with guys like J.J. Bleday and Soderstrom. They're a little priced up, so as a stack, I'm not getting them as too much. I'd probably put them in Naked Gun in general, but really like the Lawrence Butler play. In terms of the White Sox, like really just Luis Robert as a one-off when you can. So they can go in Happy Gilmore, or you could put them in Back to the Future. Yeah, either or. Back to the Future is fine. I like Springs tonight. Springs face Chicago and San Diego. Like, this is a good get-right spot for Springs. So, yeah, the White Sox and Back to the Future makes sense.
So I got to clear something up. I see this is amazing. I'm assuming that somebody went ahead and changed their name in chat. I see Emmett Brown, Dr. Emmett Brown, and the avatar checks out as well and says, "Great Scott, do not hit the like button. This board is terrible." I think what you don't understand there, Doc Brown, is I don't want to see a sequel to Back to the Future because the original was so good. You know, that's the concept. I'm not besmirching Back to the Future. I know it's in the gutter, hanging out with the terrible teams, but what I'm saying is, don't touch it. It's perfect. Let's not make another Back to the Future. So, Doc, hopefully
I think he was just talking about the stack order. I think that's where he was going.
Oh, that could be it too.
Yeah.
Please clarify that, Doc Brown. And hopefully Einstein's doing well. Let us know. Give us an update.
Oh, no, he was talking about the movies.
Yeah. All right. The Mets.
The Mets going to be in the middle.
The Metropolitans, they're in Minnesota. 8 is the total. Go ahead.
Yeah, the Mets and Twins are both going to be in the middle for me. Like, I think they're fine as secondary stacks. Lindor, Soto, those would be probably my favorite. Mets, Nimmo, you could throw in there. And then on the Twin side, Buxton, Wallner, Julian, but they're more like just middling teams that I don't love, more as just one or mini stacks, one-offs or mini stacks.
Just giving a refresh to Weather Edge. I'm trying to see if anything has changed. But again, a lot of spots don't look great. And a small sample, this looks good in Minnesota, but I feel like that might be a little bit deceiving. It's only an 8-game sample, but wind is blowing out to right center, 11 miles per hour, but it is 53 as far as the temp. and there's a 24 dew point as well. Somebody in chat was saying, where are the Brewers? But here are the Brewers. Here they are. 7.5 total. Detroit taking on Milwaukee. Brewers, the old leverage. If you like leverage, if that's your thing, sure, I guess, maybe. Jack Flaherty, possibly the most popular pitcher on the slate. Probably the best pitcher, statistically speaking. Biggest K rate dating back to last season. Lowest Sierra dating back to last season. So I don't believe there's going to be much Brewers out there. The total kind of clarifies that. 3.64 for the Milwaukee side. Detroit is a slight favorite. Minus 122, taking on the newly acquired Quinn Priester. Where do we have Detroit and Milwaukee?
So Milwaukee can go to Back to the Future. Just not really many bats I want versus Jack Flaherty. And then Detroit, like, I'm kind of mixed on Detroit. They've been good. Carpenter, Torkelson. I just still can't get around the fact that they actually are good. So it's been tough for me to kind of get there, even though last night they put up 10 runs or whatever. I'll put Detroit in Naked Gun.
Milwaukee in the gutter, Detroit in Naked Gun. I was just checking to see if we have any winners. We're going to drop a fifth clue, an unprecedented fifth clue for Television Tuesday. Heartbreaking 10 package middle. The last clue. Here's the last clue. Well, bonus clues if necessary. We got to get a winner. Is live. Live. Heartbreaking 10 package middle and live. That is our 5 clues. Get yourself a week free of RG Premium. The Astros are in St. Louis. 7.5 is the total. Houston is the favorite here with Hunter Brown taking on Eric Fetty. 7.5, not the best ballpark in the world. Stop me if you've heard this before.
And they actually and you were actually stopped. Freeze count. No, I can no longer keep track.
The over is a lock. That's all I know.
Houston.
I'm sorry.
It's really just Jordan. You're good, Dean. Jordan is really the only bat I want. Maybe there should be more here. I'm just not getting a ton of Houston. I'll put them in Happy Gilmore. St. Louis. I like Brendan Donovan a good bit. I don't know. St. Louis also in Happy Gilmore. Like, I hate the ballpark, so I'm out on this game. It's pretty much a catch me up.
All right. The next game. Let's see. We have 3 more to go. We have plenty of time, Bobby. We're making good time. Almost too good a time. Yusei Kikuchi taking on Tyler Mahle in Texas. I saw somebody in chat say that the roof is open in Texas. I want to confirm that, but I would guess that it's probably hot. So maybe it's probably a good spot if that happens to be the case. Is the roof open today? I'm doing a quick Google search, so my apologies to confirm that. But I'll set the game up. I'll throw it to you, and then we'll confirm if it's closed or not. Total is 9. It kind of speaks to it a little bit. With Mahle taking on Kikuchi, we said, 8 righties taking on Kikuchi, with the exception of Corey Seager. Of course, Corey Seager you can play against anybody. We got the Angels and the Rangers. Where are you at?
For the Angels, Kyron Paris, really very hot start to the season in the 7 hole. Guys like him, Soler, Trout, I think are interesting. Rengifo. I'd put them more in Naked Gun, though, but I do think they are an interesting stack in general. Texas, on the Texas side, I think one of the Kyle Higashioka, sorry if I'm mispronouncing his name, at 2,400. Like him a good bit versus going up against Kikuchi. So him, not really much else from Texas. Josh Jung's fine. Adalis, Jonah Heim. Seager's fine, lefty. But this is mainly a Naked Gun team for me as well. I don't love it.
According to Globe Life Field Roof, 7 hours ago at least, unless something has changed, the roof is scheduled to be open for this evening's game against the Angels. And I just did a Google search as far as the weather, and I believe it's the 70s or 80s. Did they already close it? I just went 70s, 80s. It's not going to be scalding, so nice enough where they can open up that roof. We have TJ in chat. Not only is he messing with my internet, but he's also dropping Spidey bombs. The very first Spidey bomb for the people. It is Kerry Carpenter getting it at plus 375. By the way, earlier I got on FanDuel specifically Tyler O'Neill at 390, which I thought that was really nice, really positive. You got to shop around for these, obviously. I also saw like a 310 and 320. But at least early in the day, I saw O'Neill at 390. Every 50 likes, hit that like button, every 50 likes, and Spidey will go ahead. And I don't think we have a winner yet for Movie Monday. Television Tuesday. Let's go ahead and drop an additional bonus clue, Bobby. It's a bonus clue for the people. The bonus clue is perk. Perk is a bonus clue. Perk. And now another one if necessary, which might just give it away, but we got to give it away at some point. Do what you will with perk.
These clues are as bad as the actual stream.
As my internet, yeah. Yeah, that was sitting right there for sure. All right, we're getting updates as far as the Orlando Magic starting lineup.
TJ said 150 likes and he'll fix Dean. I feel like the like count would go down because people are very amused over this situation.
He'll fix it. That's like I'm gonna get snipped. Like I don't know how do you interpret that? But you can interpret that in many different ways. But yeah, it might take more than 150 likes to fix me. But okay, there are two more games we're gonna discuss. No lineups just yet. It's the Cubbies taking on the Padres. 8 total. Randy Vasquez, Shota Imanaga. Suzuki still most likely out of that lineup, where he's currently not in the projected lineup for what it's worth. Vasquez, not very good so far. Cubs obviously have been a monster. Tough offense. A bit of a hit there without Suzuki. We're expecting him to sit. We saw Tatis bang out a couple homers last night come to life. We even saw Luis Arraez hit a homer, and then he had he only does it so many times, so he had to take advantage of it. He had a pretty sweet back toss as well, so good for him. Never played Luis Arraez. I always besmirch.
He's got 2 home runs in the year. Must have had that. 2 home runs in the year.
So what is he projected for?
4.
Well, that's where do you have the Cubs and the Padres?
So the Cubs are sneaky. I like Kyle Tucker a good bit. I like Ian Happ. I like Michael Busch. Pete Crow Armstrong is going to steal some bags. So I don't know. It's going to be middling. I'd say naked gun for the Cubs because it's not really the greatest spot. Maybe I should be higher. And I'd also go San Diego Padres naked gun as well. Shota can give up right-handed power. Tatis, Machado. We seen Tatis last night crank out 2 of them. So the back end of the San Diego Padres order is just absolutely miserable. By the way, do not play the 5-mans of San Diego.
I don't think Connor Joe is in the player pool. He just got signed by San Diego. Yeah, we're expecting him to play tonight, former Rocky. I do not believe, unless I missed it. Let me check and see. I don't think Connor Joe. Oh, wait. Oh, there he is. Yeah, he is. I think he got added to the pool. I think he wasn't there earlier today. He's 3K on DK. We're anticipating him playing tonight. He's not like great.
He's better than what they
better
have.
than what they have. All right, like Wade. Yeah. He's better than Tyler Wade, whatever nonsense they're rolling out there. We'll see what kind of lineup they come up with today. But yeah, of course, the front end, Tatis and Machado being the stars 1 and 1A, if nothing else, are interesting. Minis.
They said Lockridge made the team because he hit in preseason, and they just were forced to put him. Like, I was just wondering, like, how much he could have possibly hit because he's absolutely brutal too. He's in the back end of that order as well.
I'm going to give an unprecedented 7th clue for television. I think we're making history here. I'm pretty sure we've never done a 7th clue. 7th clue. You ready for it, Bobby?
Our next presidential candidate is Stephen A. Smith, apparently.
Booyah is the name, is the 7th clue. So there you go. That is the 7th clue. And hopefully we don't need an 8th, but I can keep going. I can definitely keep going. But That is what I'm going to put as our 7th clue. A lot of guesses being made here in the Discord. Seinfeld, The Apprentice, Sesame Street, The Bachelor, Leprechaun in the Hood is not a TV show. It's a movie. And nothing about these clues suggests Leprechaun in the Hood. But, all right. We finally do have a winner from Big Z. Well, do you want the winner, or do you want us to talk about the next game? What do you want, Bobby?
Just give us the winner, because these clues, I just can't imagine what the actual answer is at this point.
I promise you may not watch the show now, but you've certainly watched it growing up. Now it's kind of, I don't want to say it's obsolete, but it's not as necessary as it once was, because the internet is so amazing, as you can tell from my connection. First clue, heartbreaking, is in reference to a little gimmick that this show does called Bad Beats. 10 is the second clue. They have a top 10 play list. Here's the 10 best plays of the day. Package is in reference to the show is a bunch of different packages. There's a video package here. There's a video package there. There's a package of highlights. Bunch of packages.
I thought it was in reference to someone else, but
any particular a person, you mean? Or is it like a UPS?
I don't know. I don't know where your mind's at.
Where your mind's at. So middle is just, the name of the show. It's just a play on the name of the show. What is the middle? It's the center of something. Live, this show is live. Perk was in reference to, I guess Kendrick Perkins pops up in the show on occasion. I feel like he does. And he's got to give a terrible take, so you got to let somebody give a Kendrick Perkins a call, saying Joker is not a top 10 all-time, top 20 all-time player in the NBA.
He thinks he is, like, in his head. Like, he does.
I mean, you never know what the motivation is. Some of these guys just, I'm going to say something ridiculous just so people because you get elevated. You say something ridiculous and you get rewarded. So like that's.
Have you ever seen the thing? There's a video on YouTube when guys are talking to Taylor Rooks and they immediately become like Michael Jordan.
I don't know. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah. Taylor Rooks is like the sideline reporter.
And then, of course,
yeah.
I feel like I'm aware of her existence.
Yeah.
And the last clue, Booyah, was a reference to one of the numerous catchphrases over the years on SportsCenter. I was going to do cooler than the other side of the pillow. I was trying to think of some references here on the fly, but let's do the last game.
Yeah, last game's pretty easy.
Some questions in chat too.
Dodgers going up in Kill Bill. Shohei, Mookie, going to have a ton of both of them. What stinks is I have to play Andy Pajes every time I play these Dodgers, and he is just not good at the baseball stuff. Teoscar, Freeman, Edman, Will Smith, Muncy, they're all in play. Conforto made 4 outs in his first 2 at-bats last night, grounding into 2 double plays with guys on base, but we can forgive him. He's fine as well. All the Dodgers are fine. The Rockies stink. They're going to go in Back to the Future. But I do think they have, like, Kyle Farmer. Mickey Moniak can run a little bit at 2,100. McMahon's there at 3,100. You don't want to play these guys, obviously, but if they're last guys in, whatever.
Yeah, still waiting for Cubs, Padres, Dodgers, and Rockies. I know Teoscar was not feeling well yesterday. We're currently projecting he will be back. Let's just go ahead and summarize the board. If you have any questions, load those up. We have Crunchdown coming in, presumably with much better interwebs. You got Dave Potts, Cheeseisgood, a 2-time millionaire winner, as well as the CEO of The Bat and chief mineralogist Kevin Roth. Anything as far as weather lurking out there. Let me give you the old summary. Our board, if you're jumping in late, I guess Hernandez is not in the lineup. Did the Dodger lineup just drop on us? I think it did, and I guess he had the fish, so he's not feeling particularly well. Yeah, Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Will Smith, Conforto, Edman, Muncy, Pajes. You got to play Pajes again, and you know who's worse than Pajes is Chris Taylor. it's the Dodgers. We say how great they are, and they are great, but it falls off. There's a cliff.
It falls off quickly. You get they have like 10 pitchers. They have like 10 starters, and then Ohtani, Betts, Smith. And then after 8 and 9 gets really bad. 8 and 9.
Load up those questions. Here's a recap of the board. Bobby, as I'm doing this, give me some homers. I want 3 people that are going to go yard. The people love their homers. Chat, as we're running this down, hit that like button because you love the quality of my internet so
Yeah, I can do home runs real quick.
much. Hanging out with
I'll do some home runs. Tyler Nail, Brandon Lau. I feel like they're probably on the chalky end. Let's go Jonathan Aranda. We'll go Gunnar, lefty on lefty. I like Gunnar Henderson. Devers, I think, is good for one. And Ben Rice. I gave 6 of them. How many Spidey bombs did TJ give today?
just one so far, but I know he has some on layaway. What's so weird is the chat saying Kung Fu, and I guess my audio and the visual is not lined up. It's perfectly lined up for me. It's so strange.
I might be to blame for this.
I
told you to buy this computer. You know,
you did. That was your fault for sure, retroactively. All right, top 2 teams, top tier is Kill Bill. Hanging out with the bride is Baltimore and the Dodgers. We got Ben Affleck and the accountant. That's Tampa Bay, Boston facing each other in the best positive environment on the board. Also, the Yankees are joining. Lieutenant Frank Drebin and Naked Gun. You got the Athletics, the Mets, Minnesota, Detroit, the Angels, Texas, and the Cubbies. Hanging out there with Happy Gilmore. You got Cleveland, Atlanta, Kansas City, Toronto, Houston, St. Louis, San Diego, Colorado, and all the way in the bottom, all the way at the gutter, it is the Back to the Future tier. It's the White Sox and the Brewers. All right. Oh, we got a second Spidey Bomb lurking. I'm gonna drop my the Dean's Dongs in chat. I worked out yesterday. We hit 2 out of 3. When I sign off, I'll put my 3 in there. TJ's telling us Taylor Ward. Well, I guess Spidey's telling us Taylor Ward plus 450. Just afraid of who's gonna beat you that you don't have enough of.
I'm worried about the Angels. It's interesting that he just said Taylor Ward. Yeah, Kyron Paris, Taylor Ward, Trout, Soler, roof's open. Yeah, a little worried about these Angels.
Where are you at with the Dodgers? Are you kind of with the field? You're over? You're under? Any official stand? You're still figuring it out?
I'm going to be over, but I'll probably play them as 2-mans.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll do the full 5.
By the way, Ross going to be on here momentarily, but he is tweeting about win on the slate. Cincinnati 10-15, Yankees 15-20, White Sox 15-20. Note that while wins are great for hitters in all these spots, the cool temps are a bit of a limiting factor. Yeah, so that's kind of the conversation we were having. A lot of places where wind is blowing out, but it also is really, really cold. And did we just get an updated Dodgers lineup? Did something change here? I think something did change. Pages is now batting 9th. Was it just a flip in 8-9? Otani, Betts, Freeman, Smith, Conforto, Edmund, Muncy, Taylor, Pages. They say, wait, Pages, you're hitting too high in the order. Now you have to hit 9th.
They watch the show and they realize that he stinks.
Yeah, but Chris Taylor kind of.
Yeah, Chris Taylor stinks too. Muncy there in the 7-hole. Muncy in the 7-hole. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, if you rostered Max Muncy this year, your lineups are probably Muncy in the middle of nowhere. They've not been spectacular, but certainly in theory,
he'll get there.
Yeah. Do we have any questions here going on in chat? How about your pitchers? Again, let's kind of sort of somewhat recap pitcher-wise. By the way, Connor Joe did not make the Padres lineup I'm seeing now. We did get a Padres lineup as well. Let me go ahead and recap that. Joe is not making his debut. It's Tatis, Arraez, Machado, Bogarts, Gonzalez, Gurriel, Iglesias, Jason Hayward, and Maldonado. That is your San Diego lineup. Still waiting on the Cubs, and I believe the Rockies. I think we have everything else. Yeah, pitching-wise, Bobby, your boldest fade and like your boldest stand as far as you're going to be well over the field on. Who are those 2 guys?
I was just going to give an order. I wasn't really ready for that. Maybe Charlie Morton is my fade. Just like J-Ram I think he tags him for one. But guy I'm going to be significantly over the field on is Jeffrey Springs. Yeah, if I had someone who's going to be, I'm going to be pretty over, that's going to be him.
I am taking a peek here at Lineup HQ, seeing where we're at, seeing what's changed as far as ownership stuff. Last we got about 10 minutes ago, we got a new batch of ownership. Still seeing Flaherty as the most popular pitcher. It's interesting. Flaherty most popular at 32%, and then we're seeing it like being really flat after that. So Flaherty 32, and then all these guys between 15 and 18%. Fried, Pepio, Knack, Morton, Ober, Springs. Interesting. And then McGill is also in double digits, lurking at 13%. So basically it's like you're pairing Flaherty with one of those guys, and it's pretty even as far as in the distribution.
Are you worried at all about
Flaherty's
Flaherty?
a lock, but he's the most popular.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about Flaherty. Like, I think there's enough guys here that there's guys that can outscore him. I think I'm coming under the field on Flaherty or right in line. I don't think I'm going to be over.
He's the best pitcher, but I don't think it's like he's not nails, right? It's not the greatest matchup, but he's got the best K rate. You know, he's got the biggest, the lowest Sierra. This Milwaukee lineup is not one that's I'm afraid of, but there certainly is some strong bats in there. You know, Churio is legit. Contreras, plenty of power. Yelich, especially against righties historically. It falls off, like a lot of these lineups, it falls off pretty dramatically in the back end with Dunn and Ortiz. Mitchell is just an awesome K guy, 31%. A lot of power there when he actually hits it. But he's the best play, but it's not, you're not getting like the best pitcher versus the best opponent. So I understand if you don't want him. I'm probably playing him for the most part in every lineup. I don't make a lot of lineups. I'm just going to play him and lean in, but certainly there's a chance. And also, if you care about umpire stuff, I believe that's the one extreme hitters umpire. Yeah, no, there's more. There's more. Let me give a refresh because more of the umpire data has come through because some new series are starting today. Obviously, once you know the umpires when the series starts, you know how they rotate. But let's see, Bobby. Let's give the people a rundown. You can take a peek at this on Lineup HQ as well. Here are our extremes. Extreme hitters umpire for Charlie Morton, for Male, for Priester, for Flaherty, for Logan Allen, like that, Imanaga, and Randy Vasquez, as well as Kikuchi. There are no extreme pitchers umpires. There's some neutral stuff, but I think you probably do the same thing as me. We only care about the extremes, right? If we care at all when it comes to umpires.
I care about the extremes. Yeah, it's more of a qualifier too. I think sometimes we overweight it.
All right. We talked a lot about Baltimore. It's nice to see. I see Baltimore's got an extreme hitters umpire as well, and I think that kind of stuff is more important when you're facing pitchers that have trouble finding the plate. Well, Logan Allen's got the biggest walk rate dating back to last season. He's also got more walks this year than strikeouts in a small sample. So, yeah, and I don't like when my players walk, but when I have a stack, sure, I walk everybody. Yeah, let's. I'll take 2 points plus 2 points plus 2 points and then a dinger. We'll take that. We'll get ourselves 20 points on the board. Anybody else as far as questions? DK Cash pitchers question in chat. I am not playing Cash tonight. For sure. You play Flaherty in Cash. Do you have a take on this? I know this isn't really your world, Bobby, as far as Cash. If you have the salary, it's Fried, but you probably won't. I think it's probably Pepio.
I think it's Pepio. Sox are leading the league in strikeouts. Yeah, Pepio makes the most sense to me.
Yeah, Carty, we'll talk about Cash stuff. He'll be coming on in a few minutes, and he'll add some more clarity there. But I would imagine it's Flaherty, and one of those two would be my ideal path. One of Fried or Pepio. Maybe you know what? He might say Knack. I personally don't want to play him in Cash. I wouldn't want to because I think he's got a rough floor. I think that floor is rough. 81 pitches as far as his projection, which I think is the lowest number. There's a median projection. It is. And again, he's not made it out of the third inning all season long. I'm not saying he can't, and of course he's got the nut matchup here versus the putrid Rockies.
He'll make it out of the third inning tonight.
The lineup has not come out. Yeah. I mean, these are the hot takes that people tune in for. The starting pitcher, Bobby, against the Rockies is going to last at least 3 innings. I think that's important. How many lineups do you have to make, Bobby, to make – you're asking about Flaherty. What if that blows up? How many lineups are you making enough lineups to consider Milwaukee or maybe minis for Milwaukee?
It's an 11 gamer, right? I don't think you need to look for leverage that way.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's do it. Let's seamlessly segue. My apologies again for my internet connection. What was the official count? Do we have the official count as far as the amount of times?
We lost count a long time ago, Dean. Long time ago. He's gone again.
We don't have to pay out. It's just all void. We don't have to pay out all the bets. But
it's all right. Yeah, this is like the first time I've done it like 50. So you're totally fine, Dean.
Yeah, I had the over. Kevin Roth, Dave Potts, Derek Carty. Roth, I'm not going to stay long because I'm told my internet is terrible. It's perfectly fine for me, but the people are saying, and I don't think it's one big conspiracy, and Steve and Bobby, they're all telling me my internet is wonky. I've been freezing a ton. But
isn't that so annoying? It's hard to be confident in what you're saying when you don't even know if what you're saying is coming through. So it ruins the whole show.
Dean, you nearly ruined my whole night before it started because last time we had this whole thing about I realized for years I didn't know the difference between being on Wi-Fi and being plugged into this new Mac. And we figured it out at the end of last show. And then I came on and it was that I was like, it's broken again. But it's you that's broken. I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's frozen again.
Get out better next Dean. Time. My apologies, everybody. Thank you for
Right. Love you, Dean. Bye, bud. Okay, later, Bobby. You can bounce as well. Okay, there you go. Welcome to it, ladies and gents. You know the drill. It's crunch time. It's to the sharpest minds in the biz. We're focusing just on baseball. None of that split slate nonsense, multi-sport garbage. We're just talking the long ball, just talking baseball. And sometimes these two are in very good agreement. Sometimes these two duke it out a little bit, and you never know what you're going to get.
I mean, sometimes Cheese decides to have rational takes, and sometimes he decides to throw caution to the wind and just say really dumb stuff. And I'm going to call him out on it. That's what happens.
Sometimes Carty plays in the present year. Sometimes he plays 3 years in the past. So, that's how it works out.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a good one. Let's dive into it. Peter says, who are these two goons? You know it. It's Derek Carty, the creator, inventor, CEO of the Bat and the Bat X Enterprises. What up, Carty? How are you?
Doing well. Cheese is throwing shots early, but
well deserved though, so it's all right.
I think it's fair. I think this is the way we should start the year.
It does seem like fair game.
Yeah. Happy to
basketball's gone. We're all in a good mood here.
That's honestly,
that is true. Basketball is over, except there's 3 months of playoffs that we're going to have to hear about.
This is something Carty and I can fully agree
how
on.
often they actually play anymore.
Yeah, it is a little weird. Well, I'm happy to just be focusing on one sport. As we mentioned, we got Dave Potts. Cheeseisgood. He's the $1 million winner. I think maybe multiple times. I'm not sure. Sometimes I think I make that up. What up, Cheese? How are you?
I'm doing all right. Yeah. It's a pretty good slate where we have really a whole bunch of everything. So
okay. We got a little bit of weather to discuss as well. I assume the 640 games are not on the slate. Is that correct, Cheese?
Correct.
Yeah. So that kind of removes Pittsburgh from that kind of maybe weather conversation. But no matter what you're doing there, if you're playing single entry or early slate or betting, I think it's probably fine. I think pitchers and hitters are fine there. Philly is the other one where we could end up with a brief late start. But again, that's not on the slate, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so then guess what? The weather concerns that I have are no longer weather concerns. Probably worth noting, we do have some pretty healthy winds blowing out at Yankee Stadium, blowing out to center at almost 20 miles per hour for most of the game. It is kind of cool with temperatures in the 50s. That part's not ideal, but the strong winds blowing out is certainly a little boost to bats there. And with that, I'm done with my weather spiel. Let's dive into the content. Who wants pitchers first? Who wants it? Who wants it?
Pitchers are kind of gross today. Like,
Oh, no one does. Yeah, I expected y'all to fight over that. No, nobody.
Yeah.
I want outfield. That's the place to be.
Okay, I need to figure out the math to figure out how you get outfield first. Carty, why don't you walk through your thoughts on pitchers, and then we'll get Cheese's take.
Yeah, so pitching's not great today. We don't have, I guess we have one true ace on the slate, and it's Max Fried, but the matchup is not great. He's in that Yankee game that you mentioned. He's kind of expensive. He doesn't project a whole lot better than everybody else. Like, he's fine, but I don't think you have to spend up for him, because the gap between him and like the 8th best pitcher today is probably like 2 or 3 points of projection. There's just a whole bunch of these guys that all project very similarly. And so when that's the case for me, it's just play the salary and ownership game. Charlie Morton is the one that I think makes the most sense. 6.5.
He is, I believe, 53 years old this year.
He is 53
correct.
years old, turning 54 next week. And he is still going, but he's 6.5K. The matchup's not awesome, but nobody really has an awesome matchup today. The ownership looks reasonable. The price looks reasonable. The other guys kind of in that range that I think you're probably considering, or at least that I am, are like Ryan Pepio, Bailey Ober, Landon Knack will probably be fairly popular against the Rockies, because the Rockies are really, really bad. But you also have in that tier, if you want to spend money, like you have Hunter Brown, you have Jack Flaherty, but they're more expensive, and I really don't think you're getting much by spending on them. If you want to play it in tournaments, like Brown's ownership looks reasonable just to be different, you can. But just from a value standpoint, I think it's really those guys in like the 6.5 to 7.5 range.
Interesting. You have 2 favorites. Let's say you're playing on, DK, and you need 2 pitchers, cash. Is there a pairing that you really like?
It's probably like Morton and Knack, but I wouldn't tell you you're wrong to play any of them. And even there's other guys that, like Tyler McGill is fine. Like, there are plenty of guys that you can play today.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Cheese, I think you might tell him that he's wrong. Morton and Knack, if you were picking 2.
So I mean, I wouldn't play those 2 in cash, but we're different on some of the names, but in general agreement that you do not need to spend all the way up. Like, this is not the night you need. I don't. Hunter Brown is fine on DK at 10,000, but I don't have a single pitcher. I don't have Brown or Schwellenbach in any lineups. Like, you just don't need to spend it today, because they're really not. They're not more skilled just to start with, and the matchups aren't better. So,
and Schwellenbach doesn't even project that well. Like this Jays lineup this year is so far and away the least strikeout heavy in baseball. So
yeah, so like he's just. I have 0 of him. So but that's where we agree. I like Flaherty better than Fried, but I think everyone else does too. Like, I think the ownership is going to be on Flaherty instead of Fried. So they're both very good pitchers. If you did have all the money, I would play those 2. So the Charlie Morton thing is the most interesting one. Like,
he's 6'5".
We have,
Wow.
He's cheap. We have no idea on any given day anymore which guy's going to show up. That's the problem with him at this age. Like, he used to be consistently good. Now he's just sometimes good and sometimes old. Yeah. And like, we don't know which is going to be tonight. I have a fair amount of Morton, and I have a fair amount of at least a couple Guardians against him, because like, to pretend like we can pick which Morton's going to show up is silly. And then the other super interesting one is Landon Knack, because of pitch count and innings. Like, the Rockies are so terrible. Theoretically, there's no reason they shouldn't let him throw 80 pitches, which I could probably get 5 innings on 80 pitches against the Rockies. So Knack could get 6 on 80. Like, they're that bad.
Yeah.
I prefer Pepio over Morton and Knack, and I prefer Tyler McGill, but it's all very close. So really, I think we're pretty much in agreement. Don't need to spend all the way up. I like Flaherty. Bat likes Fried. I like Pepio. Bat likes Morton more, but it's the same group. And I wouldn't really argue with any way you go in those groups.
Let's talk about K upside here. Morton, I don't know if he still can get strikeouts at his age. I don't know who the hell Knack is.
Well, that's the problem. So the problem with Morton, he's got like a 1 strikeout game and a 10 strikeout game. When I say he lacks consistency, there is still a ceiling and a negative floor. Like it's huge at this point.
And he's facing Cleveland, who are not quite as not strikeouty as they were last year. That's definitely a word.
I get it though. Yeah.
But they are still very low strikeout. So it's not like Morton's upside. I don't think Morton's upside is like, I mean, I guess it can be if he has one of those games like Cheese is saying, but yeah, it's
okay. And then how about this Knack guy? Does he have K upside?
I would say, well, he has K upside because he's facing the Rockies, and they are by far the most strikeout heavy offense in baseball. The problem is that his upside is capped because he plays for the Dodgers. They keep him around 80 pitches when he pitches well, and that's kind of his thing. So
kind of the answer for both is
kind of.
Yeah, there's not a lot of likely upside from any of these guys. Which is why I think Knack is okay. Like even if he were to go 70 pitches and 5 innings and strike out 5 batters, that might not sink you. Yeah. Because he'll still be fine. I think a best case scenario game for Pepio is better than them. Or you could hope that tonight's the night the old Bailey Ober shows up again.
Yeah.
I don't think he is. Like he's bothering me. Like his velocity's still down, the strikeouts are down, but he's going to be back, and it'll just happen all of a sudden one night. And if it happens, he's not a $6,700 pitcher. He's an $8,000 pitcher. Yeah. So he's viable for upside as well.
Okay. A couple thoughts. One, I saw a comment from Emmett who says, "Hey, can we get 150 likes, fellas?" Good point. This is free content. We do hope that you hit that thumbs up for us. And second, on FanDuel, Cheese, you get 1 pitcher.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're playing cash, is there a chalk there? Is there someone that you like in tournaments?
It's not that hard to spend $10K. Because there's so many cheaper bats. So I would play Flaherty. I'm fine with Fried or Brown. Like to me, you can afford one of those 3. And then Morton being 7,800 and even Pepio at 88 or Knack is down at 74. I don't like Knack as much on FanDuel because he's that much less likely to get enough innings.
Yeah.
But if you play Morton or really even like the Pepio Ober tier, you can get like 3 of the big outfielders. But really, when we start digging through bats on FanDuel, getting a 10K pitcher is not that hard.
Okay. And then one more name that I'm seeing a few times in the chat, and Carty, I'll let you answer this. How about Springs? I've seen 2 or 3 people bring up Springs. I've got another one bringing up Imanaga. Any interest in either of them?
I think Springs has more upside than Imanaga just because he has better stuff. Like Springs is a good pitcher. It's nice to see, like he was with the Rays for a while and, they kind of held him to their Rays type thing, 80, 85 pitches. And then he got hurt. And this is his first time pitching in like a year and a half. Not his first time. This year is his first. Yeah. This is his 4th start. The first couple starts, they kept him around like 80. Last start, I believe they let him get up to close to 100, which I think is interesting for his upside. I don't see that happening again. Not right away. And the matchup is not, well, I mean, I guess the matchup is fine. It's the White Sox, but it's more the price, I think, than anything else. But for upside, I don't have a problem with him.
Okay. Cheese,
I do have 1 or 2 lineups with Springs.
Okay. Any Imanaga?
I did not get to any Imanaga. I think he's okay in this same mix, but no, it's just a low strikeout matchup, and he's not really a strikeout pitcher, so I don't love it. I have a question for Carty. I don't think it's relevant tonight anyway, but does the bat think that Gausman is still good and that last year was just kind of an outlier fluke? Because I'm kind of starting to think that. I don't know if it has a firm opinion yet.
I think it's still kind of trying to decide, kind of in the middle somewhere. It doesn't think he's like good anymore. But I don't think it thinks he's terrible either. And you look like his stuff plus is back up this year, even though the strikeouts aren't. So it is kind of tough to know what to make of him.
It's pretty wild to see the dude drop 10% strikeouts last year. For those that are wondering why I'm asking, like he was a 31% strikeout pitcher. Then all of a sudden he had a sore shoulder and he's a 21% strikeout pitcher. I was just kind of looking at the velocity is kind of back.
Yeah.
A little bit. I mean, not all the way, but it's creeping. I don't know. It's not relevant for tonight. I don't think. We're not.
But maybe it will be.
I'm very interested long term. What happens? I hope he's back.
Right.
I hope everyone's back. I hope Walker Buehler's back. I hope they all come back. But
me too. It's a lot more
not
fun that
everybody
way.
comes back.
Okay, we're still getting more questions about pitchers, but we got to talk about some of the stacks, and we will get to all of these questions here towards the end of the show. So let's talk about the bats and the stacks. If we don't really love any of these pitching options, it feels to me like, geez, maybe there's a lot of hitting options and a lot of stacks that are viable here.
Kind of, but we don't love the pitching options. They're all okay. Like they're all decent. Just none of them are great. So the vast majority of the slate are just kind of okay.
Yeah.
But we do have a handful. The Dodgers look very good. The Yankees, the Orioles.
I don't know about the Yankees cheese though, because have you seen Aaron Judge's BVP against Michael Wacha?
That's
I don't know if we can
true.
stack the Yankees tonight.
To be clear,
out
he's trolling. Yes. To be clear, we don't care about a 20 at-bat sample size.
But so I love the Orioles, Dodgers, Yankees. And then there's a whole bunch of teams that have upside that I think are fine, like Tampa again. The Mets and the Braves facing pitchers who might be good, but might not yet. I like the Cubs a ton as well. So, yeah, I guess there are a lot. But there's also a whole bunch of teams that are just kind of decent team against decent pitcher.
Yeah. Okay. Carter, your thoughts there stack-wise? You got some favorites for me?
Yeah, I agree. The Dodgers and the Yankees are kind of the top tier for me. I like the Cubs quite a bit. I know the bat really likes the Braves. I'm digging into Gausman a little bit more, and like it is possible that the bat, like that he's better this year, and the bat is too low on him. But the pricing on the Braves is pretty good. I do like Brave stacks tonight, especially because they're projected to come in pretty low owned. Not that anyone's going to be high owned tonight, but I think they are going to be lower than they should be. In terms of like off the board weird stuff, like I don't see a whole lot. Like Cheese said, like there's a whole group of teams. There's probably like a dozen teams that are all just kind of okay. Like if you want to take shots, like I don't hate a Brewer stack against Flaherty if you're running a bunch of lineups, like that kind of thing. But really, I kind of think the core good teams tonight are like Dodgers, Yankees, Cubs. I think the A's are actually good tonight.
So does
the A's are actually good every
Eric
night. Those top five bats, there's just a scary top five, and then the other four, who are those people ever? But they have five really good hitters.
As I mentioned, Eric is in agreement. He says, I play them every night. Maryi Danyezi says, any interest in a Tiger stack on DK?
I have several mini stacks of Green, Carpenter, and maybe like a Colt Keith thrown in for a cheap guy. Priester's really not bad. Like he's a pretty decent pitcher against righties with a bunch of ground balls. So I don't love it, but I do like those lefties, especially Carpenter at his price.
Okay, good stuff. We want to go around the horn. Did also see Dean's Dongs, which I actually never want to say that out loud again, but it was Tyler. Yes, I saw Dean's Dongs.
That did not sound wow.
I know. It's not the way that I intended that to come out.
Wait, is that Dean's
Tyler
Dongs or the Lorax's Dongs?
That stash is so magnificent.
I love it. It's so good.
Tyler O'Neill, Brent Rooker, and Mark Vientos. We're going to get your home run picks as well closer to the end of the show. But let's go around the horn. People are building lineups. They want to figure out who they're plugging and where and what we're doing. So, Carty, lead us off. Talk about catcher. What do we like?
I am unsure on the pronunciation. It's either Langelier or Bangaliers, whichever.
You had it the first time.
Yeah.
I thought so. Kevin's trying to change it this year. So whatever you want to call him, he's the top option today. He's your cash guy. He's not that expensive. He projects as the top guy on the slate. It's a really good park for the A's. It's a nice upgrade over, the context they've had the last few years, regardless of what you think about their park this year. I think he's kind of like the no-brainer option. Certainly Will Smith, though, as a one-offer in your Dodger stacks. Sean Murphy in those Atlanta stacks that I mentioned, I like a lot. Kyle Higashioka, if you need to punt at 2.4 is probably the guy I like the most, or Gary Sanchez. But the high end of catcher is kind of good today.
Okay. Cheese, your thoughts?
Yeah, catcher's really, again, always pretty good. I also like Shea.
Langelier or Bangaliers.
You know who it is.
Yeah.
I like Gary Sanchez to save money. Also fine with Higashioka in there. Like basically everything in between those guys who are 4,300 and up on DK. If I'm not getting to them, or maybe Austin Wells, then I'm just going down to one of those cheap guys.
Also, if we do think Flaherty is going to be the highest owned guy tonight, which it does look like he is going to be, I don't think it'll be out of control, but I really don't mind a William Contreras one off against him.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. Cheese, your thoughts at first, please.
So on DK, even though he's expensive, Ohtani will probably be the one bat that's maybe chalky tonight. And I certainly like him, but you don't have to spend $6,500. By all means, go ahead. He was inches away from having a 3-homer night last night, and like he's hitting well. Like he's gonna go nuts as always. But we do have cheaper stuff on FanDuel where we don't have Ohtani at first. Like it's weird to see Vlad at 3,100. I don't really like him. Like Schwellenbach's a very good pitcher, but Vlad's realistically more than the $3,100 player. Same with Olsen. I don't really like playing against Gaussman, but those are just good hitters that are cheap. That's kind of why I say it's just not that hard to get a 10K pitcher because all these batters on FanDuel are cheap. That makes me like, air quotes, overpaying for Pete Alonso or something like that. Just spend up to be different. On the DK side, Ben Rice is probably the chalky, cheap guy.
Cook that rice, baby. Went yard last night.
And I like Mountcastle at that same price quite a bit. Jonathan Aranda is another cheap guy that's playable. I like Michael Bush, pretty good amount. And I will stop there.
Okay. Carty, your thoughts at first. By the way, Power says Tampa Bay has not won on April 15th in 14 years. And San Diego is 11-0 at home. With this kind of sample size of either 11 games or 14 games, the outcome already. Get all your money in.
I mean,
they probably don't even need to play.
They probably don't. I don't know what odds the sports books are offering, but if it's not like minus 1,000 to the Padres, you should probably just bet your mortgage on it. Yeah.
Oh, don't. We're kidding.
Please don't do that. Please
so that we don't get sued. We're joking.
Please don't do that. I'm kidding.
Carty, first base, what do you like?
I like Ohtani a lot, obviously. He's fantastic. I want to prioritize him, whether I'm playing it at first or in the outfield. Ben Rice, if you're saving money, but I'd rather just probably play Ohtani. Matt Olson, I like the Matt Olson take a lot. As much as Gaussman's kind of an unknown, I think the Braves are just like, no one's going to play him tonight. And Gaussman could be bad. And like she said, Matt Olson is just really good and underpriced, especially on FanDuel, but also on DraftKings. 4-5 for him is too cheap. So those are the guys that I like the most at first tonight.
Okay, good stuff. By the way, Dean pointing out that Ben Rice was Dean's dong last night. Dean's dong was Ben Rice. Second base, Carty, what do you got?
All right, so
moving on from me repeating that multiple times, what do you got?
As usual, second base is kind of like there's not one guy that I'm like, yeah, I want to play this guy tonight. It's like on FanDuel, it's easier to afford the higher end guys just because it's FanDuel. So like you can play Jazz Chisholm, or you can play Westberg or Brandon Lau or Ozzie Albies, who I like for the Braves, or Semien, or like whoever. On DK, it's like, do I really want to spend 5-6 for Jazz Chisholm or 5-1 for Westberg? Like, not really. Semien at 3.8 is probably the guy that makes the most sense in terms of just like being good. Matchup is okay. Price is reasonable. But if you just want to outright punt the position tonight, Lennon Sosa hitting third for the White Sox, I'm cool with that. Kyle Farmer, assuming he's in the middle of the lineup for the Rockies, I don't mind that for 2.3. There's just, Chase Madroth in the White Sox lineup with Sosa. just punt with whoever. Like they're all bad.
Yeah.
Madros.
Madros.
I like you really sold that pronunciation. I like it.
It was excellent. Yeah. Cheese, I want your thoughts here at second. And then I had an Ohtani question that I meant to ask at first and I forgot, but go ahead and go through second first.
So yeah, on FanDuel, the pricing is just, again, this is why you can just play whatever pitch you want. Chisholm and Westberg and Lau and Albies and Semien, like they're basically $3,000. Like you don't need to even talk about anything else on FanDuel. But then I similarly agree on DraftKings. Like this is a pretty reasonable spot to just punt with garbage and hope you get a couple points. I'm similar to the Kevin Gausman thing. Like I don't know if Marcus Semien is good anymore. I think he might be, but he also might be done or like just on a very clear decline. I don't know, but he is probably too cheap still just for the lineup spot. And he'll score some runs and he's not totally out of power and he'll steal 10 bases maybe. It's just, don't think of him as the guy who was like a 20-30 player a few years ago. But I'm fine with him and I'm fine with those total cheap nonsense plays. Like this is the position that I think you can just punt and not worry about who you have.
Okay. Before we get to third, my Ohtani question, I think he was 6,500 on DK today. Last year, wasn't he like around 7? Like actually at and surpassing sometimes, or am I making that up?
He got to 7 a couple times.
Yeah, a couple times.
Okay.
Not regularly, but
okay, all right.
It happened. Yeah.
I was curious if we were like resetting his price and he was gradually just going to climb to 7, and it's like play him by.
I mean, if he does what he did last year, he'll absolutely get back to 7.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Just something I enjoy watching. I enjoy following. That brings us to third base, which I don't know.
You set it up so that Cheese can do outfield first.
Did I? I was
yes.
I swear I didn't do the math in my head about like who starts and who finishes.
Oh yeah, whatever, Roth.
It was a mistake.
It's crazy how good the outfield is tonight. I don't even want to talk about anything else, but yeah. So third base is similar to second. Like the expensive stuff on DK is pretty expensive, and it's not like really, we do have to start talking about outfield because when you get to the outfield and see what you can spend on, it makes it really unappealing to spend anywhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, I like Jose Ramirez. Sure, I like Manny Machado. But like compared to what we have elsewhere, these are not priority spends. I think Austin Riley kind of is like the Matt Olson thing. Maybe Gausman's good, but even if Gausman is good, Riley is in play at 4,300. I think Josh Young at 3,500 on DK. Is a pretty good play. And you can also just full punt this if you want. I've got some Mark Vientos as well, just as something to be different. And then similarly on FanDuel, it is much easier to get Ramirez or Devers or Machado, but you also have Westberg there and Austin Riley's only 3,100. So you do not need to go with cheap nonsense on FanDuel.
Yeah. Carter, your thoughts at third?
Again, I think there's plenty of there's margin for error with the Braves, but I just think Austin Riley is really good. Like everyone knows Austin Riley's good, but the bat thinks he's even better than people think he does. Toronto this year has been an extremely homer friendly park, and we don't know about Gausman. So I like Riley at his prices. I think he's good. Otherwise, I'm fine with the stuff Cheese said, like Josh Young. You can punt it with like Miguel Vargas. Obviously, the high-end guys are all going to be fine. But Riley's the guy I think I really have the most interest in.
Okay, take me to shortstop, Carty.
Sure. So, shortstop. I think the guys that people are going to want to play tonight are like Mookie Betts for the Dodgers because the matchup is really good, and he's Mookie Betts. You have Corey Seager on DraftKings at a very reasonable price, 4.7K. It's lefty against Kikuchi, but that's too cheap for Corey Seager. Bobby Witt, though, is the guy that I like the most. The bat actually has him projected better than the other two. Almost, I'm not even going to say almost as good, like a little bit better. And no one's really going to play him because he's facing the most talented pitcher on the slate in Max Fried. But you mentioned the weather's pretty good there. He's got the platoon advantage. He's really good at baseball. And so I think Witt is viable in cash games, and certainly as a tournament play, I like him a lot. Seager's the one that I think probably makes more sense. Dansby Swanson is another guy kind of in that price range that I think is good. I don't mind Tovar leading off against Knack, assuming that he's leading off. I don't think I've seen a lineup yet. But yeah, that's short for me.
Okay. Well, then I need Cheese's thoughts there at short.
Yeah, I mean, it says a lot about how great Bobby Witt is that, like, the bat has Max Fried as far and away the best pitcher and still has Bobby Witt. I remember, like, Bobby Witt's just really good.
Yeah.
There's Ohtani and there's Bobby Witt, and then there's everybody else, really. But I'll tell you that because all the expensive shortstops have non-ideal matchups. Even Mookie Betts. I mean, Feltner is an okay pitcher against righties. Like, he's not some gas can.
Outside of course, he's an okay pitcher. Yeah.
Yeah. So these expensive guys are fine, but I can tell you that my highest owned shortstop, and kind of by a lot on DK, is Tovar. Not because I love Tovar; he plays for the Rockies, but he has talent. The team as a whole does not, but he's more than a $3,400 player, I think. And it's just
You want to save
again. We're about to play all these outfielders, so I didn't have a lot of space to pay for shortstop.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else you want to add, or no? That's short, Cheese.
I don't know.
Not really. Okay. Well, then we get to go to the outfield. You asked, I delivered accidentally. You get to lead us into the outfield.
Okay.
Accidentally.
We really eeny, meeny, miny mode that thing.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Cheese, what are your thoughts here, man? You're telling me it's amazing, and well, looking at some of these names, it is.
I mean, it's crazy, and I don't even know how it worked out like that. That all the infielders don't have good matchups, but all the outfielders have good matchups. Like, it doesn't even make sense, but it's just kind of what it is. I would rank them Ohtani, Judge, Tucker, Tatis, Rooker, Alvarez, Soto, Trout. Those 8, as far as like spend ups, I absolutely love every single one of them. And then the mid tier is just as packed with stuff that I love. I really like the Orioles. So I like Tyler O'Neill. I really like the Cubs. I like Ian Happ. I think the Angels outfielders, other than Trout, like the Ward and Soler, are very playable. We go a little bit cheaper, and we got the Kerry Carpenter and the Lewis Robert, and the Michael Harris. Like, if we stop there, I don't really want to punt outfielder. I do have a couple of Ramon Laureanos, just because I'm playing the Orioles and he's free. But the reason we talked about punts everywhere else is to try to get maybe 2 of these great outfielders, and then have your third guy be at least like Lewis Robert or Kerry Carpenter, if not higher.
Yeah. Okay. Carty, some of your favorites there.
Yeah, it's like she said, it's not hard to play Ohtani and Judge tonight if you want to. They're my favorites. I think they're kind of a cut above everybody else. But I agree with pretty much everything she said. The bat does kind of have a hot take where it thinks Michael Harris is every bit as good as all of these other high-end guys. Like, it projects him between Tatis and Tucker tonight, which is wild. But at 4K, he doesn't have to be that good. Part of that's going to be the stolen base matchup, which obviously the field doesn't really evaluate a whole lot of, but this is a good spot to steal. Gausman's very easy to steal on. Kirk's easy to steal on. The bullpen's easy to steal on. It's a really good matchup for stolen bases. Part of the reason why I like the Braves tonight, even if we're not totally sure who Gausman is. And I think Luis Robert is my other favorite guy in the mid-range there.
Okay. And then any cheapies you want to throw out?
I don't want to play a cheapie, like she said, unless you really have to.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't want to.
That's fair. Ruthless Villain reminding everyone that Judge has bad BVP tonight. I hope he hits 4 freaking homers and just all.
What do you mean? Tell Carty Judge has bad BVP. I brought it up earlier.
He led the show with it. He wanted everyone to know that's what's going on. Hey, everybody wants some home run calls. That's a big thing. We still got, I don't know, roughly
Aaron Judge, just for you, Ruthless Villain. Aaron Judge.
All right. Well, let's do on the high end. That's totally fair. Carty, give me 2 or 3 in various tiers here, high, mid, low, or just high, low. Who is going bomb? And also, I know that you have odds built into the bat, and you can tell us who the best home run odds are for betting. So I'm curious with that as well.
Yeah, so Aaron Judge actually does project for the highest chance of a home run tonight by a lot because BVP doesn't matter. In the mid-range, Austin Riley and Ben Rice both look pretty good. Low end, off the boardish type stuff. There's not a lot that looks great, honestly. I'm just going to punt on that one.
Yeah, that's right. You don't have to give people a bad. You don't have to give people a bad.
I mean, the cheap stuff is like, I'm not telling you the cheap stuff is good tonight. Like I'm playing Lennon Sosa or somebody at second base but I'm not going to tell you Lennon Sosa is going to hit a home run.
Right.
Like you want the expensive stuff today if you can, and you're just hoping to get by with some of the cheaper stuff that you're playing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In terms of betting odds, it looks like the top option tonight is Michael Massey around plus 1,000 in that KC New York game, which is against Fried, and people aren't going to want to do that, especially because he's Michael Massey. But like you said, there's some wind blowing out. It's Yankee Stadium. It's a big park upgrade for power for KC. He's hitting in a decent spot in the lineup. The odds are good. So that is the Bats' favorite tonight.
Very good note. Cheese, you got a few names for me as well?
Oh, I do.
Yeah, your favorite time of the show.
To be just slightly different on the high end, I'll go with Pete Alonso. Mid-tier, give me a little Tyler Soderstrom. And cheap Gary Sanchez.
Okay, good stuff. Butthole says, how long has Carty been doing this to not believe in BVP? He's been doing it long enough that he knows to not believe in BVP.
I mean, yeah, like here's the thing. I just responded to him in the chat. Like, it's really hard to convince yourself to believe something that is just proven false. Like, just zero chance that it's true. Like, the evidence is out there. Everything is there. For you to do the mental gymnastics to convince yourself that it matters, like, that's a hard thing to do. I don't have that in me. I'm just not good enough for that.
Yeah, that's fair. Carty probably doesn't believe in ghosts either. Yeah, that's well said. Let's get some questions. Let's throw them in here. If you have any questions, make sure you are dropping them.
Hold on. I object to that.
What happened?
There's no evidence that says ghosts aren't real. We just can't prove that they're real. We can prove that BVP sucks.
BVP, you're telling me, is less real than ghosts, than supernatural things.
100%. Ghosts, at least there's some uncertainty with.
Yeah, I love how serious.
Probably not even uncertainty. There are ghosts. I mean,
yeah, all right. Yeah, there. We've got your answer. Hey, I want to make sure everybody is doing two things. One, hit us with the thumbs up. It's free content from two of the actual smartest minds in the biz. No BS. It's not a lie. It's the truth. And two, sign up for RotoGrinders Combo Pro, the MLB DFS annual option, 425 schmackers. But we dropped the price of our Combo Pro product to match just the baseball product. So you get more stuff for the same price. Combo Pro 6 months gives you full access to content, tools, projections for every sport except NASCAR at a much cheaper price than the monthly package. You actually save 35% if you do the 6 month as opposed to month by month. Dean wants a poll that says, do ghosts exist? If Steve is down for that, I'm in. In the meantime, let's see what we've got. I am going to pull up the Discord, which I obviously should have had already loaded. And we will look at some of these questions in the YouTube as well. I started late, Beaner says. Cheese, your favorite pitchers in a FanDuel GPP?
So what we talked about on FanDuel, it's really not that hard to get the expensive guys, whereas it is on DK. So for me, Flaherty's my favorite pitcher, but I do think he's the chalk. So if you want to be a little different, I would actually go Hunter Brown. But I think spending up on FanDuel is way more the play than it is on DK.
Okay, I like that. I like this question from Jeff Morgan. It's not immediately relevant, but I just like the question. Carty, Jeff says, I put way too much money on Sasaki over 152 strikeouts this season. On a scale of 1 to 10, where would your panic meter be?
I mean, I think Sasaki is going to wind up being good. Taking an over on a pitcher strikeout is always tough because an injury and they're done, especially a Dodger pitcher where they're not allowed to go deep into games a whole lot. I mean, that's been the case with him this year. Like, he really has not been going very deep into games. Part of that's because he's getting rocked, but or has in some starts. But even like you look at his stuff plus numbers and stuff, like he's not the guy that was billed, kind of by the hype this offseason, which was kind of my concern in the preseason. Like last year in Japan, like he had the injury, his Ks were down, like stuff was down. Like there were some red flags. Him just coming and signing the deal that he did was a red flag instead of waiting a couple of years to get paid out, because he came out and he was like, well, you never know what's going to happen in a couple of years. I could be injured. It's like,
he knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, yes. That is a little telling. Panic meter on that bet, the over strikeouts on a scale of 1 to 10.
What was it, 152 strikeouts?
I think that's what he said. Yeah.
I'm pretty panicked on that.
Oh, all right.
From a guy who does know sports betting and knows nothing about sports betting, I think if I bet, I would take every pitcher without looking under strikeouts. Just injuries alone, you would probably come out ahead.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, the bat hasn't projected for a final of 132. So you're not dead, but you're,
not in a great spot currently. Okay. Kevin Shorts. I think that's just his name. He's not referring to my shorts. Says, Cheese, best pitchers for DK Cash. And we talked about this a little bit. Maybe there's not a super clear pairing, but.
Yeah. So for Cash, like that's where Carty and I have a different opinion. I would play Flaherty and Pepio, whereas I think he would probably say Fried and Morton. Is that true, Carty?
Sorry, I was distracted by
that
chat.
You would lean Fried and Morton for Cash, probably, if not Morton and Knack.
Yeah, I don't even think you have to spend up on Fried if you want to play Knack or Ober or McGill or any of those guys in that range that we talked about.
On
draft,
I'd have one of the 9K guys personally with one of those 7-ish K guys. So I don't think there's a clear best answer. But definitely not to spend ups.
Okay. Let's see. How many home runs does Judge hit tonight? Cheese, that's an easy one for you.
1.
Okay, I'm going 2. I think we're going 2 bombs. 2 bombs for Judge. Let's see. Scrolling down. Here we go. On DK, Alan asks, hey, Carty, Rays or Orioles stack? Which do you prefer?
I think give me Orioles tonight.
Okay. Making you work for this one, Cheese. Matt says your favorite second baseman with $4,100 or less. It is a DK Cash question. I feel like maybe you're going to go less.
41. So like, I don't think you need, it would probably be Semien, but feel free to go all the way down to nonsense if you can use that money elsewhere. To me, that nonsense would honestly be, I want Carty to say Chase M's name for the White Sox because he nailed it so clearly, but Chase Madroth. But if you don't need the money elsewhere, I would just play Semien.
Okay, very good. Let's see. Joseph says, Cheese, Betts and Miguel or Tovar and Fried?
Tovar and Fried, I guess. That's pretty toss-uppy.
Okay. Eric, for some reason, pointing out the new Scream movie comes out next year. Okay. I watched wasn't there a new one like last year? It was I don't know.
I actually didn't see it yet. It was only I.
Yeah, I feel like I was disappointed. I was excited about it, and then I was ultimately disappointed by it. FanDuel Cash, Carty, Bellinger, Morel in a stack, or Harris O'Neal?
I think it's probably the second one.
Okay. More questions, and we got them flying in the Discord, jumping over there. Blink says, Carty, one of my current builds is 3-3-2-2. 3 Rangers, 3 Angels, 2 Rays. I'm wondering, this is for Cheese. I'm wondering if Mr. Cheese thinks that is a viable strategy and good enough to take down a DKGPP. 3-3-2.
Yeah, I like 3-3-2. And I'm good with that.
Okay, great. FanDuel Cash, Carty, a couple coming your way here. 2v2 Rice and Mookie Boots, or Alonso and Lindor?
Definitely the first one.
Okay. Gamble says, is a Rays stack stupid on FanDuel?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's stupid, but they wouldn't be one of my top choices.
Okay, that's fair. DKGPP, Xander or Dansby? Anyone can have that.
I
don't
prefer
care.
Dansby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Cheese, back to you. This is from Bean. Freed or Flaherty? Flaherty in a FanDuel GPP.
Yeah, so that's what we've been talking about a bunch. Bat says Freed, I say Flaherty. I do think Flaherty's more popular if that concerns you. So there you go.
Okay.
I like Flaherty. Bat likes Freed. They're both good.
All right. We're 2 minutes until lock, and my youngest is coming in. She's probably about to sit on my lap, so enjoy that. Cheese, do you like the same guys at short on FanDuel that you mentioned on DK?
Sort of, although you don't need to punt. So I'm not playing like a bunch of Tovar there. Like Lindor at 3,400, Seager at 33, make it less relevant to play a cheap guy.
Okay.
You can still get up to Witt or Betts, but so no, my thoughts are a little different. I think you get one of the good shortstops.
Okay. Let's see. Question here. Cheese, Springs or Pepio in a cash game? Springs or Pepio in a cash game?
To me, they're close enough that you go Pepio and use that money somewhere else.
I said lock is in 2 minutes because I'm used to the NBA that actually has lock at a reasonable time.
That the games don't actually start. We've been over this before. To say 7 o'clock and the game start at 7:07 is dumb. To say a game starts at 7:07 and it starts 07:07 is right. And
one of those
NBA
is more rational than the other, if you ask me.
Yes, but can't we just do the proper thing and just have the game
pretend it's going to start earlier than it actually starts?
Sure,
just
but don't pretend like NBA is doing it right. They're doing it worse.
I agree. I actually agree with both of you. My daughter's concerned. I actually agree with both of you. But why don't we just, instead of starting the game at 7:05, just start it at 7 and then actually start it at 7?
I'd be okay with that.
I'll send a text.
Yeah.
Somebody on speed dial.
Talk to somebody let the commission know. Let's see. Still more questions coming in on the Discord. DK single entry is high dollar. Cheese. Okay. Charlie, come on. Now my kids are all right. DK single entry is it viable for Morton Pepio with a full O stack with Texas, or is that not necessary?
I'm good with that. Like just in general, the double cheaper pitcher, I think is very viable, and I like the O's a ton. So yes.
Okay. Carty, got a few questions headed your way now. DKGPP from New Generation, Spring Story or Morton and Betts?
Morton Betts.
Okay. Very good. Is it stupid to play Molly against the Red Hot Angels, Carty?
Play Molly? Oh, Tyler. He's not on my radar today.
Okay. Not asking that one. DKGPP. How much Trout is too much Trout, Carty? He seems to do okay with the Rangers in Texas. I mean,
if you should have cut off the end of that question for Carty, but
right.
I was about to give a nice answer, and then you say that, and I'm about to fly off the handle. It doesn't matter how good he's been against the Rangers in Texas. Like that's just as bad as BVP, maybe worse. Trout's always Trout, but the outfield is so loaded today that he wouldn't be one of my top choices in the outfield.
Let's see what else we've got. FanDuel cash outfield. Cheese coming back to you. Harris or Robert?
Those are both very good plays. I would Robert on that one.
Let's see. Roth, can you ask your daughter who's going yard tonight? I might. Let's see what she's got. Okay, we're actually doing a great job on all the questions. If you have any more questions, get them in. Jim says your thoughts on Kikuchi. Cheese. I think we briefly went over Kikuchi, but maybe we didn't. Your thoughts there?
Like he's in that mix with all those guys who are okay, but to me, he's far enough down. I didn't get to him. I don't think you're crazy to play him, but he just missed my cut.
Yeah. Okay.
Just barely.
Yep. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up, by the way. If you're here, J3 says, hey, great show. The people love Cheese and Dean. Okay, well, Carty and I are a little bit upset. Dean's not even here, right?
I approve of that comment for whatever wherever it came from. Like, yeah.
Rude. Kid Kobe says, Cardi, Hunter Brown or Freed? And then follow up, Mikhail Garcia or Brandon Donovan, FanDuel.
I think Freed's a little better than Hunter Brown tonight, but if you're talking about a tournament on FanDuel, like he comes in, at least he's projected to come in considerably lower owned than Freed. I think Hunter Brown's a great choice.
Okay, good stuff. And then the other one was Garcia or Donovan.
I don't really want to play either. I guess Garcia.
Yeah. Okay. Cheese, you got a 2v2v2 from K-Town's finest. I always kind of like 2v2v2s. I don't know why. Kikuchi Springs, McGill Springs, or McGill Kikuchi. Tournaments and all the money. That has microphone on it.
Yeah. I would go McGill and Springs.
Okay. We are less than 2 minutes until lock, and we've got a DK cash question, Cheese, from Matt. Riley Massey or young Simeon, DK cash?
Probably Riley Massey.
All right. We're doing a good job on these questions, but still some coming in. Mr. Grapefruit, this is not a question. It's just a comment. Cardi, Texas, Minnesota, and Tampa bats with Schwelly and Freed. And he has a surfing emoji. I think he's surfing on his money.
Maybe a dumpster emoji.
We would have said no, but that emoji's awesome, right?
Yeah.
I am now on board with that. Look at that. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, we approve the emoji work.
No,
Eric
they're not really ones I'm on tonight. I don't think spending up for Schwellenbach makes a lot of sense personally.
Okay. Eric says out of 150, and I don't know how many stacks you guys are playing. This may be a cheese question. How many Rocky stacks are you playing out of 150 if you're playing 150 lines?
So I did not get near 150 tonight. I mean, I would definitely have a couple just because of the salaries, but like two.
The salaries are nice. Yeah.
You know,
and some
you can play and maybe do like 4 Rocky, because you could probably do 4 Rockies and get like 4 of the huge bats around them. Like the only reason you're playing them is to go Ohtani, Trout, Judge or something. And if you can get 4 big bats, don't feel like you need to squeeze in the 5th Rocky.
Okay. Cleveland Picker says, hey, I just want to say what's up to my boy Cheese for the first time this season. And yes, it's picker
Cleveland
time.
Picker. Ding, 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 ding.
That's nope. He's
Yep, pretty sure.
He says garage sale season is upon us. He's a picker. He's going
to look for used ukuleles.
No,
Ding, ding, ding,
that's
ding. Yep, absolutely.
Hey, the most important question of the night, and we hit lock, so we'll let you out on this one. Judge or Ohtani? Judge or Ohtani?
I want to say Judge just to spite the BVP people.
Yeah.
But it is Ohtani.
Yeah.
Right.
It'd be a bad BVP for Judge, so Ohtani, I agree.
Yeah. Right. That's not the reason, but okay. I think we've done all of the things that we came here to do. We got a couple questions that maybe are too late, and I missed them on the Discord, but can we go through those real quick? Baby, please stop touching those. Okay. Thank you. FanDuel cash, Cheese, Olsen, Mountcastle, and then Riley or Westberg. I
would lean to the Orioles. Like those are both extremely close. I would play the 2 Orioles.
Yeah. Okay. And then do I want Jacob Wilson over Tovar tonight at short? Talk me off this ledge, Cardi.
I know Cheese said he likes Tovar a lot. I like Tovar more than Jacob Wilson. I know Wilson's hot and people love that sort of thing, but also his skill set isn't particularly good for fantasy anyway, and Tovar is the better hitter. So give me Tovar.
Okay. And then we got the last question of the night. It is, which chalk pitcher is most likely to get funnel caked? You both get to answer this, Cardi. Which chalk pitcher, and there's no real chalk pitcher, but let's say like out of the names that we've been going over, who do you think is most likely to put up a dud and get funnel caked? By the way, Paul says Cardi and Cheese should always be on shows together. It'll happen often.
Give me Brewers against Flaherty. They would be the team I like the most for that purpose.
Okay. Cheese?
I mean, it's Charlie Morton. Like we said, who knows which Charlie Morton shows up? It's like, I mean, I think it's like 55-45, like 55 that he's good. But
you think Morton's going to
really
be chalky?
Well, I don't think anyone's chalky other than maybe Flaherty. So that's why I think, after Flaherty, and even that's not super chalky, I think everyone's like 15% owned.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, guess what? We hit lock. I think, who the hell knows, is baseball. Lock might be in 10 more minutes. You never really know. But I think we did all the things that we came here to do. So we're going to bounce on out of here. For Cheese
And
for Carty.
Ghosts proven real. So that has been settled.
Okay.
All
That's
right.
good. Ellie, who's going to hit a home run? Is it going to be Judge or Ohtani? Judge. Ellie says it's Judge tonight. She is not a BVP truther whatsoever. For Cheese, for Carty, for the wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been